Hello, everyone. My name is Demetria Beckham, and for those of you that do not know me, I am the author of a self published book titled Daughter, Woman, Mother: The Growth, Development, and Improvement of the Woman. And I just wanted to take a little bit of time just to talk to you all and give you just a little bit of information about the book, giving you an understanding of the history behind the book and the reasoning why I chose to write this book, my inspiration behind writing this book. Um, I I won't say that I came from a home where there was no love, because there was love. I'm not gonna say I came from a home where I wasn't cared about, because I was cared about. I had a mother that worked. My mother worked. As a matter of fact, she might be the only person that I've ever heard say she actually enjoyed getting up, going to work. She took pride in what she did. I wasn't an only child, but I almost felt like I was an only child. It's because my siblings are like 15, 16 years older than I am. So I was pretty much, an only child at home, just me and my mom. And no, my father wasn't in the home. It's not like I didn't know who my father was. It's because I did. There was a relationship, but not the relationship that I wish we could have had, but I did have a relationship with my father. Again, my mother, she got up early every morning, 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 7 days a week, to drive about 45 minutes or so to work. And she did this, oh my gosh, for almost 20 years. After I was born, or right before I was born, I'm sorry, is when she started working this job. And she made sure I had everything that I needed. And what I didn't have, she would do her best to supply it. And where she couldn't, I had siblings that would make up for that difference. So it's not like I went without things. It's not like I went without love, but we all understand that as parents, when we have to go outside the home and work, because as mothers, we may be a single mother, and we have to supply for the home that then leaves a lack there in the home. And my mother, she did all that she knew. She taught to the best of what she knew. And in that sense, you can't expect any more from a person except for what they know. So she taught the best that she could. She showed me the best that she could. And from there, much of the things that I ran into, um, the not so good things, it came from that lack, that part that I was missing. And I was very I was influenced a lot by my surroundings. Now, this is not, as I even state in the book, this is not to point the blame at anybody. This is not to shift any blame from myself, because I take on full responsibility for the things that I have done, for the choices that I have made in my life. But it goes to show, when as a child you're not stable in your way of thinking, when you haven't when stability hasn't been established within you, you will just go for whatever. And so at a very young age, at a very young age, as much as I don't like to admit it, as much as it still hurts me to this day to relive my past and think about the things that I've done, I was very sexually active at a young age. And not realizing the consequences that would lead to that as I grew into the person that I am now, and as I grew into a person with knowledge of uh, sex and how it can destroy us as women, and how it can lead to a higher body count, so on and so forth. But that was a lot of things. That was a lot of some of the things that I experienced, in addition to not having a good esteem. My self-esteem was really low. When I was younger, I I was very thin as a child, and I was taller than the rest of many of my classmates, my female classmates. And so I always was very self-conscious of myself because I'm like, I'm really skinny and I'm tall, and all the other girls, I thought they were so pretty and admiring that they had really nice bodies and things like that, rather than being secure in what I looked like, regardless of what anybody else looks like. Because what we have to understand and realize is, while you're living in your insecurities, but then looking at somebody else and wanting what they have, we don't realize that what we think is beautiful and what looks good, they're dealing with their own insecurities as well. And while they may not admit it, I've come to an understanding and learning that if they weren't insecure, they wouldn't have to do the things that they did to gain the attention that they got. But I say all that to say this: you're wanting what someone else has, and they're not even happy with who they are. So it's silly. It makes no sense. But see, these are things that our girls aren't taught by our mothers. And again, it's not to point the finger at anybody. It's just to bring a realization and an understanding that that is a piece that's missing. And if we can get out of our own feelings and get out of our own way and say, you know what, that's true. That is something that we are missing as mothers in our homes, and we're missing giving it to our daughters, then that's where the change begins, rather than taking it personally and thinking that, we may be taking jabs at one another by pointing these things out, when in fact these things are pointed out to make us better, to make us stronger, to teach our girls right from wrong, and teach our girls how to love themselves and respect themselves and know that they don't have to part their legs. Because us as women, we love with emotion, and we think if we can give all this emotion and we can give all of this and all of that, and we can give sex, that'll win the guy. When in fact that's not true. He is there to get what he's gonna get, and once he gets it, he'll leave you with not only a broken heart, but he'll leave you with, oops, there goes another skeleton in the closet. And then you'll move on and, oops, there goes another skeleton in the closet, when our intentions may have never been to build this body count up, but we were looking for love and going about it the wrong way. And again, these are things we are not talking to our children about. We're not teaching them that these things are not cute. It's not cute to walk around, with your butt hanging out and your boobs hanging out and thinking, oh, just because I got attention, or this guy asked for my number, that means he likes me, or that means I'm beautiful, or that means that, I got something. Well, what you do have something that he wants, but, he wants me. No, that is another false, that's another false perception. That does not mean any of that. He's going for you solely based upon your looks, solely based upon what you are presenting. You're not presenting to him intelligence. You're not presenting to him the respect of a woman. You're not presenting to him wifey material. You're presenting, unfortunately, it's true, not trying to beat up on anybody, but you're presenting to him a slutty appeal. And you wonder why you keep attracting these kind of guys. It's because it's the energy that's being put out. And I'm not sitting here and I'm not being blameless. I'm not sitting here like, oh my God, I've been so this and this and that all my life. No, I haven't. I've dressed the part. I've looked a certain way. I went through this identity thing where I'm trying to learn and find myself and trying to figure out what can I do that's going to bring me that fulfillment that I'm looking for. In my book, it talks about a lot of that. It talks a lot about, I won't call them my mistakes. I'll call them my poor choices. They were decisions that I made. They just so happened to be poor decisions. And I talk a lot about that in my book. I talk a lot about how, I teach my daughters and I tell my sons, this is what you need to be like as a woman. And for the boys, this is what you need to look for and expect in a woman. And I can't just tell them that, but I have to be their first example. I have to be the one that when they see that woman, they say, I see a lot of qualities in my mama in that lady. Or a man will look at my daughters and see the qualities and know that it's because she was raised with values, morals, and respect for herself. So, again, my book does touch a lot on these things. It's a very short read, but it's a very powerful read. It's one, even for me, um, even with knowing all the information that I put in the book, I did a lot of editing, rereading, but see, the reading and the editing was for the purpose of the book flowing and the purpose of the book being right. But once the book was complete, I received my proof copy and I read it. I was like, wow, it hit me all over again. Like, wow. It was like reading something someone else had put together. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was even my writing. And some things hit me over the head again, like, wait a minute. I better rethink this thing and I better do it a little bit differently. So it was even a help for me. It helped me to get out a lot of things that I had been dealing with in an attempt to reach somebody else that I know is going through the same thing, or to help somebody else from going through the same things that I went through. So what I wanted to do tonight is just a little bit, not a lot. I wanted to give a little tease, a little taste of what's in the book, and hoping that it draws an interest. It sparks something within you, like I need to pick that up. I need to read that. I got to. So yeah, I just wanted to read to you a little bit of chapter 5. And chapter 5 is entitled, You Lay, You Pay. It says here, let me make sure that I got these pages loosened so that it all can flow as I read it. And I'm not going to read the entire chapter because I have to leave something for you all to read when you purchase the book. So it says, chapter 5, You Lay, You Pay. Sex is a beautiful thing. It was made for a husband and a wife. Sex was created not only for procreation, but for pleasure as well. Sex was not made to be had with any and everyone that comes your way. Sex for a woman was made to be with her husband and her husband alone. When did it become acceptable for us as women to lay down and sleep with any man that comes her way? Why do we choose to devalue ourselves for a little pleasure? Promiscuity is at an all-time high amongst women of all ages today. We never stop to think about how we are compromising our well-being and integrity just for a moment of pleasure. Our well-being and we have taken on the mindset that if a man can do it, then so can I. Too much of what we think we know is false. As I stated in an earlier chapter, we as women are receivers and take in the spirit of the men we are sleeping with. Our bodies were never meant to be passed from one man to the next, but to be kept for the man that was chosen for us. We teach our daughters to not respect themselves by telling them to use what they got to get what they want. Most of our daughters are taught in one way or the other to use the roundness of their butts and the fullness of their breasts to lure a man in to get what they want. Let me tell you something. If you can get a man that way, he is weak and not someone you want to deal with anyhow. A real man is not going to let an outer appearance fool him into thinking you are the one. We lie with the lips on our faces and use the other lips between our legs to try and keep, control, or get what we want from a man. Sex has become one big sport amongst us as women. The power of a woman is not what is between her legs, but the righteousness she seals in her heart and mind. We no longer value our only temple that we were given. Our bodies are a host for the dwelling of the Most High and should be treated as such. How do we expect him to dwell in us and our temple is defiled and unclean because of how we chose to abuse it with sex? Sex has brought devastation to many just because we chose to ignore the order of it. In our community, sexually transmitted infections are at an all-time high, not to mention teenage pregnancy. I too was a teenage mother. Although I do not regret my child, I do regret the circumstances in which I had him. I was not mentally ready for a child because I was still a child learning myself. Not to mention, the one I chose to lay with was not the one for me. In turn, a child was brought about in a divided situation when that is not how it should be. We get into these relationships and believe that we have discovered what we assume is love, which turns out to be lust and some form of infatuation. So I'm going to stop there with chapter 5. And like I said, I don't want to spill too much. I don't want to give too many spoilers in the book, but I do encourage you all, fathers, buy it for your daughters, buy it for, a girlfriend, wife, female loved one, random stranger in the street. Women, buy it for yourselves. Read it with your daughters. Read it by yourselves. Give it to them. Let them read it. Give it to the next door neighbor's daughter, whoever you think material like this could help. And watch how, it becomes fruitful in their lives. It should make you stop. It should make you examine yourself. It should make you think, am I on the right track? It's not to beat up on you. It's not to poke and hurt you. It is intended to help. And that is my goal. That was my goal in writing this book. And it helped me too, like I said. And you can get your copy from Amazon and other distributors, I will leave the link for Amazon in the comments so that you all can check out the book and, bless someone with it, bless yourself with it. And I know I've taken up probably almost 20 minutes now of your time, but I wanted to introduce myself and give you a little bit of understanding about my book and what inspired me to do so. I want to share with you all what the book looks like. I am still waiting to receive my copies that are for sale, because in addition to selling them on Amazon, I'm keeping copies on my person as well. So unfortunately, all I have to show you all is the proof copy, which has the not for resale stamped across it, but it still does not change the content, the message within the book. So this is what you all should be looking for on Amazon. I'm sorry, it's got a little glare from the light, but this is what you all should be expecting to see on Amazon. This is the back with my picture and a little information. Like I said, it's not a super long read. It is 10 chapters. It has note section in the back for you all that like to take notes when reading. So again, if you could, please go ahead and check out the book. I look forward to your support. I look forward to your feedback. And I thank you so much for your time. You all have a blessed day, blessed night, depending on where you are. And let me know what you think. Have a good night, and thanks for your support.